In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new rainbow loom double inspire bracelet. It's the same concept as the inspire bracelet, only this time we'll be using all 3 rows of the loom. So you want to have your loom set up in a rectangular pattern so that all the pins are in line with one another, and you want the arrows to be facing away from you. Now for the pattern part, I've chosen several different shades of orange to use, and you can do as many colors or as few colors as you would like. And so you will need 24 bands in total for this. And then for the background, the main part of the bracelet, I've chosen black. So I'm going to be starting on the end in the center row, and the first band is going to be placed diagonally and up to the left. I'm doing this darkest orange first, and then I want to move to the pin on the right, and I want to do the same thing with a dark orange. And now on each of these pins where I just left off, I'm going to stick with this dark orange, and I'm going to go diagonally to the right. So we're just going to be zigzagging all the way up the loom, and the rows are always going to be parallel to each other. So now I have my next lighter orange, and again from these two where I just left off, I'm going to zigzag up. And then again from these two, I'm zigzagging back down to the right. And you always want to keep pushing these down so you have room to add your next layer on. And now I'm at the next lighter orange, and I'm going to go diagonally to the left in both of these rows. And also you want to try and keep your bands as straight as possible so they look the neatest when it's done. And now from here I'm zigzagging back down. Now again I'm going to the left. Just going to keep lightening my colors as I go. And now I'm going back to the left again. And now to the right. And then finally, I'm going back up again. And to the very end here, to the last pins on the loom. I'm going to make sure this is all pushed down. And now I'm going to go back to the start again. And I still want to have the arrows facing away from me. Now we're ready to place the background bands on the loom. And in a lot of my previous videos, I used 2 bands at once for this part. And I do prefer that because I think it helps the bracelet to hold its shape and look thicker and fuller. However, I'll just be doing it with 1 band this time, and you can see what it looks like. So we're going to start on the center pin and go to the left hand side. And then I'm just going to work my way up the left side of the loom. Again, I'm just using 1 band at a time. You can use 2 bands at once if you like, if you know that you like that look better. And again, you always want to keep pushing the bands down as you put them on. And now at the very end, you want to take another band and go into that center. And then we're going to go back to the start, again with the arrows facing away from you. And this time we're going to go from the middle out to the right hand row. And then again, just work your way up the right side of the loom. Always pushing the band down to the bottom. Again, when you're at the end, you want to place that last band into the middle pin. And then once again, you're going to start back at the other end here, arrows facing away from you. And now you're just going to work your way up the middle. And you're going to go all the way to the end. And now I'm going to turn the loom around so that the arrows are facing towards me. And I need to finally put the cap bands on the top. So on this very center pin, we're going to put a doubled band. So you just want to place this on your hook, twist, and put it back on. And then you can put that band right on the top. And now we need to place bands that go across here. That's going to keep your bracelet together. And so for this part, what I'm going to do is start in the right hand row and stretch diagonally all the way across to the left hand row. What would be the pin in the next row above. So I'm starting on the right and stretching to that next pin above on the left hand row. I'm just going to work my way up the loom. And now you want to go back to the start, and it's time to start to loop the bands. So you're going to be starting on this center pin. Now on this middle pin, you will have two bands on top, which is the cap band. There is a band that is next that goes forward. The next band will go over to the left. The next band goes over to the right. And then finally at the very bottom, you have the white band, or whichever color starts your pattern. So we're just going to take those off in order. So you want to take your hook, reach down through the center, push back on the top two bands, grab that next band in line, hold this cap band in place with your thumb, and pull this out and move it forward. You're going back down through. Again, push back on the top two bands. That next band is going to come out. Again, you want to hold this cap band and over to the left. Going down through the middle again, push back, grab that next band. Now this is going to go over to the right. And then finally you're going back down through, push back, grabbing this pattern band and moving that one forward. And now I'm just going to work my way up the left side of the loom. So on this pin, you can see there are two bands on top. You want to put your hook down through the middle, push back on them, and we want these two bands to move forward. So you can take them one at a time, or if you want, you could have grabbed them both at once and move them forward. And now you go down through the center, push back. You have one band at the bottom that's going to move up. Now you're going to have a cap band on all of these pins, so you want to make sure that as you're putting your hook that it's going down through the center and that cap band is staying behind your hook, because you don't want it to get caught up and come off of the pin. So in line we have the top background band that needs to move forward, and now there are two pattern bands. We only want that very bottom one to move forward, so you're going back down through, pushing back, grabbing this bottom band and moving it up. Now on this next pin, again you're going down through the middle, push back on that cap band. You just have one single band to move forward. And on this next one, you're pushing back, grabbing that top band, going back down through for the very bottom band, and moving that forward. So every other time you will have a pattern band. So now on this next pin we only have the one black band to move forward. And now on this next pin we're pushing back, grabbing that top band, and then going back down through for that pattern band. Now on this next one, make sure you're going down through the middle, push back, and grab just that single band. And now we have the pattern band again, so you're pushing back, you're grabbing that top band, moving forward, and then going back down through, push back, and getting the bottom. This next one, you only have the single band to move up. Again, push back, you have the top band, go back down through, get the bottom. On this one, again, just one band. And now when you're at the top, you need to go down through, push back on the cap band, get that top band out and into the middle, go back down through, get that bottom band, again move that into the middle. And you want to push the bands down that are on this top pin in the middle because it does get very full. And now we're going to go back to the start again. And now we're going to work our way up the right side of the loom, doing that same thing. So as you can see, we have the 3 bands on top. We want to get those behind the hook, push back, grab just this very bottom band, have it come out and move forward. Now on this next one, you're pushing back on the cap band, grabbing that top band and moving it forward, going back down through, pushing back, grabbing just the bottom and moving that up. Again, it's going to go every other on this pin, this row as well. So we have just one band here. And now on the next pin we have pushing back, getting that top band to move up, and then going back down through, grabbing that bottom band and moving it forward. And now finally at the end here, you're going down through. You have just that bottom band that needs to go into the center. And now it's back to the start again. We have just this middle row to finish here. And on this middle row there's always going to be a top band and a bottom band for every pin. So I'm pushing back on the cap band, grabbing that top black band and moving it forward, and then I'm going back down through, pushing back on all these upper bands and just getting that very bottom one. Again, on the next one, push back. You have the top band on the very bottom. So hopefully by now you have the hang of it. You're getting the top and then the very bottom. And repeat. It's going to be like this for the rest of the way up. And your bands should be sliding out easily. You shouldn't have to be struggling with them. If you're trying to pull and it's not coming, then you must be grabbing the wrong one or you're caught up somehow, because they should move ahead very easily. And now on this last one again, we have that top band and then going back down through for the very bottom. And that is it for the looping. So the last thing you're going to do before you take it off of your loom is to take your hook and put it down through the center pin and push it out to the side. Now you want to take another band and pull it up through. If you twist your hook, it's easier to pull it up through without getting caught on other bands. Put this other end back on your hook, and now you're ready to take it off of the loom. So just be very careful that you keep hold of the end, because if this slips off of your hook, it will fall apart. And this end pin is very full, so it's going to be the hardest to release. And also you want to make sure you're getting all the bands off of every pin as you're working down, because they do tend to want to hang on there. And then this is what your bracelet looks like. Now what I like to do is, again, keep hold of this. I like to go through here and just tug a little bit on the bracelet to get it back in shape, how it's supposed to look. And you can see how the lines zigzag up and down and that they're parallel to one another. And we're going to need to add an extension onto the bracelet in order for it to be long enough to fit around your wrist. So in order to do this, you want to take your loom with the arrows facing away from you, and you're just going to take some bands and start on the end here. I'm going to do it on the right hand row. Just going to place 4 bands, just one right after the other. And now I'm going to take the end here and just place it on, get the 2 bands to go on. And now I'm just reaching inside and pulling back. Just going to do this for all of the pins. And then I'm going to take my hook, go through the middle, pull this off, and I'm going to take a clip. I have an S clip here. Just going to get these two loose ends to get hooked through there. Now I'm going to the other end here. It should be a circle in the middle. Going to take another band, go through and put it back on my hook, put this aside. And now again, I'm going to do 4 more bands. Just one right after the other. And then once again, I'm going to put this end here, the 2 loops through here, and stretch it out just so it's easier to grab. Getting this middle band and going back. Do this for all of them. Again, put your hook through the middle, lift up, and now you can take the other end and hook those 2 through the clip there. And then here is your bracelet. This is what it looks like on the front side. And then this is what it's going to look like on the back side. So as I said earlier, I do prefer to use 2 bands at once for the background part. I don't know if you can tell as well from the video, but this is definitely looser, and if you pull it at all you can see that it's easy to show through. But it's a perfectly fine bracelet to do this way, and it definitely will use a lot less bands this way. And I will show you another bracelet that I made. This is the same pattern, only this time I used the length of 2 looms, I'll hold it this way, to make the bracelet. I had rainbow neon colors for the pattern, and then the white for the background. And now this time I did use 2 bands at once for the white background, and you can see how much thicker it is, and I just prefer this look. And here's what it looks like on the flip side. So that is the double infinity bracelet. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and you can always leave me comments on YouTube or Facebook. You can send me pictures of your creations to my Facebook page. Please feel free to sign up for my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my new creations. And you can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram. Thank you.